Yes, folks, you read that right. Stir frying can save the planet. Let me clarify that. Okay, that was a slight exaggeration. It's probably truer to say stir frying can help save the planet. And you're still probably wondering what I'm on about, okay? But put it this way, most of us cook by boiling, roasting, broiling, deep frying, lots and lots of different ways of cooking, but one thing in common is they take quite a long time. Taking a long time means we're using more energy, more carbon footprint. Contrast that to stir frying. 80 to 90% of stir frying is all in the prep, and that means the slicing, the cutting, the getting the sauces together. That constitutes the big wedge of the effort and time and energy used for stir frying. The 10 or 15 or 20% used to stir fry is literally minutes. If it is literally minutes, it means we are using less energy, we are consuming less carbon, we are helping. What I am preaching to you is the fact that stir frying can help both the planet and your pocket, because obviously it's using far less energy than if you're roasting something for 2 hours. You are literally stir frying something for 2 or 3 minutes. That is a massive difference to both your energy bill and the amount of energy you use, which obviously impacts the planet in a good way. And for those of you who are watching my channel who are students, single parents, small families who don't want to be eating that much, don't want to be cooking that much, don't want to be using up that much energy, this is perfect for you. When it comes to eating meat, stir frying is the perfect way to lessen your consumption, both for the environment, for costs, and for health reasons, because we always slice the meat so thinly that a little goes a long way. So in the recipe I'm going to be doing for you today, we're going to be using about 200 grams of meat. Now, if you're eating a steak, that's literally one steak, okay? But that will feed maybe 3 to 4 people in the recipe I'm about to show you today, because we thinly slice it and it's spread throughout the dish, and you eat less meat. Yes, we eat less meat. So even though perhaps we're not going vegetarian or vegan, by eating less meat, we're producing less cows, we're killing less cows, we're producing less carbon, less methane, we're using less energy, and that means it's good for our health, it's good for the environment, and it's good for our pocket. This is a massive win-win situation. If everybody does this, I think it would make an impact globally. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on with the recipe. So I'm going to start by preparing our veggies. I'm going to finely chop 2 cloves of garlic, a little fresh ginger, peeled and chopped finely again. I'm going to finely slice half a yellow pepper. I like yellow peppers because they are sweeter than the green or the reds. I've got 5 stalks of tender stem broccoli, which we're going to slice up quite roughly and use that all. And a whole lot can go in, which means there's no waste, which is obviously a good thing. 3 baby sweet corn, which I'm going to chop up into little chunks. And finally 2 stalks of spring onions, which I'm going to roughly chop up. Just going to add a little bit of crunch to the recipe. Today I have bought this roasting joint, which is the cheapest joint of beef I could find in the supermarket. It's just over 800 grams of meat here, and we're going to be using just 200 grams to serve 2 to 4 people, because we're going to slice it thinly so we can make a little go a long way. The rest of it we can fridge or freeze, and it will keep for ages and ages and ages in the freezer. Now, because it is a cheap cut of beef, it obviously isn't going to be like fillet steak or filet mignon, right? It's going to be quite a robust piece of meat, if you know what I mean. However, there is a way that we can make this really, really tender, really, really appealing, and it'll melt in your mouth. It's a technique that the Chinese people have been using for a long time in takeaways and restaurants called velveting. I'm going to show you how to do it. So first off, we're going to slice off around 200 grams. This is 800, so I'm going to do approximately a quarter of this, about there. And you can see already there's a bit of effort just to slice that bit of meat off, which shows you how firm and tough this meat probably is. So next thing we do is find the grain of the meat, and that is the direction in which the fibres are running. If you look at the whole piece together, it's going across like that. So the grain is going down there. What we need to do is cut against the grain, and that will automatically make the meat less tough, because if you cut along with the grain, then the fibres are running lengthwise. That keeps it tough. If you cut across it, you're kind of breaking that down, which means that it's less tough instantly without doing anything else. That's just one simple technique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start slicing the beef across the grain in thin slices. And there you go. Now we've thinly sliced our beef, we can carry on with the velveting process. What we're going to do is we're going to add half a teaspoon of baking powder or bicarbonate of soda, which is basically the same thing. And also a teaspoon of corn flour or cornstarch, which again is the same thing. And we're going to get in with our hands and we're going to give it a good massage in. And this will chemically start to break down the meat. And this will tenderize and, as they call it, velvet the meat, because I suppose it gives it a kind of velvety texture. Once it's massaged in, you can see it's already breaking it down. It looks different, the colour has changed, the texture has changed. At this point, we can add the marinade. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of light soy sauce, half a tablespoon of sesame oil, and half a teaspoon of sugar. And now we can give that all a good stir and set it aside for half an hour to an hour. You can leave it in the fridge overnight. You can actually even freeze it and then defrost it when you need it, and it will still be great. Right, today we're going to be making a simple beef and oyster sauce stir fry with plenty of veggies. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got our wok smoking hot. About 1 to 2 tablespoons of cooking oil. Then we're going to put our garlic and ginger straight in, get the flavours going. And then we've got the beef, which has been marinating and velveting for the last half hour or so. I'm going to clear a bit of a space, get the temperature really hot, get a good sizzle on. Now with beef, you kind of spread it out. And initially, just let it sit, let it brown. Don't do too much with it, because we want to create that caramelization, that crust, and that'll give us nice texture and flavour. At this stage, we can add our veggies in, our chunky veggies. So I'm going to start with the baby sweet corn and the broccoli. Bigger pieces of vegetables in first, because they take a little bit longer to cook. And it's all about getting it ready, coming together, all together, right at the end. I'm going to put my peppers in. There's a few strands of broccoli still here, we can put that in. I'm going to save the spring onions until the very end. Right, got 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce going in. Approximately. With oyster sauce, it's quite salty, so when you season it with the salt, be careful. Don't put too much in. Stir that in. There we go. And now I'm going to add 100 ml of water You can use stock if you like, but again, be careful with the stock because that is going to be salty as well. And with the oyster sauce, that might be a bit too much, so be careful. I'm going to add a splash of light soy sauce, just a little bit. It's about half a tablespoon. Just gives it a nice bit of flavour. Okay. So we're going to season with a little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper, give it a stir, half a teaspoon of sugar. And if you want to go the vegetarian or the vegan option, you can actually get vegan oyster sauces now. I haven't tried them myself, but people who have tell me it's really good. So that's worth investigating. And finally, I add my spring onions right at the end. Stir it in again. And tablespoon of corn flour in water, corn flour slurry or corn starch, as you call it in the States. That thickens the sauce nicely, gives us a nice glossy sauce. Beautiful. Right guys, it's the moment of truth. Check it out, check it out. Now it's all very well saving the planet, but at the end of the day, is it worth saving if it doesn't taste nice, right? So good. Well, generations and generations and generations of Chinese people can't be wrong, right? There's a reason they do this. Actually, stir frying and wok cooking comes from the fact that they had limited supplies of wood to cook on in the first place. So it's kind of exactly the same as what we're going through now. Weird, isn't it? Nice. Love baby sweet corn. So let me recap. It's better for the environment. It's better for you. It's quicker. And it's tasty. What more could you ask for? I'm going to start a movement. We've got to do this. Everybody's got to stir fry, right? Forget your Sunday roasts. Although I am going to miss them. This has got to be something we do more often. I think, especially in our fast lives and we lack, we haven't got time. So stir fry is perfect, and it feeds families. You can do a couple of dishes and everybody has a bit. That's the beauty of Chinese eating. It's how we eat. It's great. It's communal. It's sharing. Everybody's there and everybody has a bit. And you sit down and you eat together. You don't just have your own plate. Everybody has a little bit, and it's fantastic. When we sit down to eat like this, it is literally a family occasion, and that's what eating's all about, right? Apart from the food. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope I've managed to convince you and tell you why my completely crazy idea of stir frying, saving the world, or helping to save the world, makes some sense on some level. And if you do, please let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys. Bye bye.